because as I'm thinking about this, the concept of adaptive organization or adaptive cultures and adaptable organizations maps really nicely into the various elements of our science of change. And the one thing we haven't talked about yet is what's the impact on this idea of the dual operating system, right? So when we think about the structures, sort of management and the hierarchy structures that we need in order to operate and run an efficient, reliable organization, and then that networked piece of the operating system that allows us to be more nimble, more creative, more flexible. How does the idea of a really strong and well-rooted adaptive culture fit into that model?
Yeah, I think about it as enabling the and between the hierarchy and the network, because you're not going to let go of a lot of the management that's needed, a lot of the reliability and efficiency that's needed, because then your culture is probably not adaptive. It's probably chaotic if you let go of all of that. But really thinking about how you can use your network to drive things like innovation, to help raise ideas around multiple stakeholders. If you look at kind of all the characteristics of an adaptable culture, your network can help bubble those to the surface, but you also want it to scale so that it can really permeate the organization in a way that's helpful over time. And that's where you need the hierarchy to come in to really help build those structures that allow it to carry on and to scale and become something that doesn't just benefit sort of an innovation group or a pilot team, but actually help the entire organization, or at least the entire function.
Yeah. And this also goes back to what we talked about in terms of the high performance cultures, right? So the goal in the end is to create a high performing organization. And so the network and the hierarchy work in concert to do that. And the culture supports both of those. The other piece we haven't touched on much is the idea of adaptable systems. And that's something that we're only just starting to really get into, and from a research perspective, in terms of what does need to change about management systems to make them more adaptable, right? Because there is a role for management systems to play for sure. And we need management systems to also be more fit for today's level of uncertainty and volatility. And so that's something that we're starting to talk more about and starting to do some more research around.
And I love that, because a lot of times I talk about in sort of the nirvana state of the dual operating system, you've got a hierarchy and a network that are challenging each other in the best ways. So you've got a network that's saying, hey, hierarchy, like, give me better stuff to work with, give me stronger systems, give me newer systems, help me figure out what needs to be in place. And then you've got the hierarchy that's saying, okay, network, like, what can you give to me? But they're constantly challenging each other to do better. And I think that idea of what adaptable systems looks like is a really interesting sort of next phase of research.